Hey everybody, this isn't the type of stuff that I usually upload, but I think this is very important and needs to be talked about. This is a massive discovery and could change the playing field of Geometry Dash permanently, so it's important that I can get these points across right now. So there was a recent discovery that allows players to play GD at higher refresh rates than their monitors would normally allow, without the use of the FPS bypass or any third-party programs. A few days ago, a player by the name of Powered by Pi discovered that using a VGA to HDMI adapter, it is possible to trick your computer into thinking you have another monitor plugged in. And that video that Pi made is linked in the description. And this allows you to overclock this non-existent display to very high refresh rates that could be used in GD on your primary monitor. This led to more discoveries being found about how GD works in regards to refresh rate, as well as another method of achieving a higher FPS without an adapter. This method, dubbed the Piepass, involves players creating a custom resolution with whatever refresh rate they want, launch GD, quickly apply this resolution, and have GD cap at the FPS at whatever the custom resolution was set to. After your screen reverts back to your native resolution because it cannot actually display the resolution you set it to, you are free to play GD at whatever FPS GD just capped itself at. Obviously, people were very excited about this new discovery, as it allows players to use high refresh rates without needing to use the FPS bypass, which is not allowed on the list due to the fact that it changes the game's code. However, this is where some of the controversy comes in. The list team has not yet decided whether or not they will allow this method to be used to obtain records on the list. This is why I'm making this video. The list team has a couple of concerns regarding it that I'm going to attempt to address as quickly as possible, as well as provide some possible solutions to the problems regarding it. The first and seemingly biggest problem that the list has with the Piepass is that it can be described as an exploit. While this is technically true, it does not necessarily make it any less legitimate compared to high refresh rate monitors. It is intended for Geometry Dash to cap at whatever refresh rate Geometry Dash is opened at. What is not intentional is the effect that high refresh rates have on the game. High refresh rate monitors making the game easier is not an intentional side effect of capping FPS to whatever refresh rate your monitor runs at. Both the Piepass and the high refresh rate monitors have the same effect on Geometry Dash, and as such, it is only fair to treat them the same way. The second problem that the list seems to have with the Piepass is that they do not know how they would be able to force an FPS limit if they were to set one. The easiest solution to this is to simply not have an FPS limit in the first place. From what has been tested so far, no serious physics changes have occurred well into the 400 FPS range. On top of this, the difference becomes smaller and smaller the higher up you go, meaning there's no real reason to go extremely high. And the game just basically breaks past 500 FPS anyways, making it like unusable. The problem that the team seems to have with this is how buggy the game could be. However, there is a solution to this that I, as well as many others, believe to both solve this problem as well as encourage players to not push their FPS too high. In short, instead of implementing an FPS cap, the list team should implement a bug fix cap that does not let players fix bugs that occur over 300 Hz. They could accomplish this by creating 300 Hz bug fixes and uploading them on their GD account pointer crate, where they already offer LDMs to list demons. The reason the cap should be at 300 Hz is because the highest native refresh rate available at the moment is 300 Hz, and there are 360 Hz monitors on the horizon, so they could just raise the cap to that once those come out, or any new high refresh rate hardware comes out. This solution works in both players as well as the list team's favor. It requires minimal effort on the part of the list team to make sure that players are completing pre-approved bug-fixed versions of levels. It also encourages players not to go too high because it is unlikely players would want to switch between refresh rates depending on what levels they are playing, in case the level they want to beat does not work over 300 Hz. Now with these problems addressed, let's talk about some of the benefits of the Piepass being allowed on the demons list. For one, it would even the playing field between players who normally would not be able to play at the same refresh rate. This has been a problem for a very long time, as oftentimes players who cannot afford high refresh rate monitors are not able to keep up with the newer, harder levels that essentially require the advantages that high refresh rate monitors give to players. This can already be seen as even players with 144 Hz monitors cannot keep up with the current top 10 like they could before. This can be seen on the stats viewer, as every single person in the top 10 currently owns a 240 Hz monitor. Another benefit to allowing the Piepass is that the vast majority of people who have tried the Piepass agree that it makes the game more enjoyable to play, including myself. Many players, especially ones with lower refresh rate monitors, are finding less enjoyment in Geometry Dash, and the Piepass could very well motivate them to keep playing, as it already has done to me. I definitely think it's the right move for the list team to allow completions that use the Piepass to be accepted on the Demons list. Not only does it seem to be the most logical thing to do based on how it functions, but it would also make GD more enjoyable to a lot more people. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe to Pablo.